Evening, another Q&A. Welcome, guys, to another Cybersecurity Q&A live where we try to remove any uncertainties for any cybersecurity careers. I know if you think about starting a career in cybersecurity, the amount of information and the amount of misinformation that's out there can be confusing. You don't know where to start. You don't know what courses to do. You don't know what skills to acquire. And that can be really difficult. So, as always, I mentioned, it's hard for me to be able to answer all of the DMs, all of the comments. So I've run a few of these lives a week to try and help you guys answer all of the questions about cybersecurity career, and about what it means breaking into the industry. So welcome along, guys. Spend another hour chatting all things cybersecurity and hopefully answering any of your cybersecurity questions about cybersecurity career. So buckle up and spend another hour with me. So welcome, guys, coming in. As always, all questions about cybersecurity, technology, and AI are welcome in the chat, and I will try and answer them in the next hour or so. So hopefully we'll have a great evening and we're going to get some great questions. We're going to chat all things cybersecurity. Welcome, guys, coming in. Choose the Ripper says, what would be an advice for someone who is just starting to get into cybersecurity? It all depends based on what you have done before and what kind of knowledge you have. But I would say, there's a couple of things. I've dropped a couple of videos on YouTube which covers the full cybersecurity career roadmap, whether it's GRC, whether it's SOC analyst, and then tomorrow I'm releasing a video for cloud security. So link in my bio, check out these videos. I think these will explain the best advice, because it covers all of the career, what courses you need to do, how to build the best CV, how to build the best home lab, and how to apply for jobs. Because there's a lot of information out there, and I think there's a lot of misconceptions of what you need to do, what's necessary to do, what's not necessary to do. I think people have an opinion, I think, and been told lie that, the more certifications you have, the better chances of landing a job you have. And that's completely not true. Says, hey there, do you think it is easily to pivot from network to cybersecurity? No, I don't think anything is easy. There's no easy pivoting into cybersecurity. I think the entry level or any kind of level route into cybersecurity is not easy. But what I would say is I shared loads of tips in my TikTok shorts, in my YouTube videos. There's a lot of things that you guys are not doing, and that's why you can't find a job. So I'll try to break it down and kind of explain some of the tips, tactics, courses, and home labs to do to be able to do that. But yeah, of course you can do that. But it's, breaking down into cybersecurity, the only thing I have to say, it's not easy. It's very difficult, but if you persevere, you can do it. Nikki Cyber, hello. Yes, I'm LT. Hi. I'm going to university in Slovenia for cybersecurity. Should I take my classes in English or Slovenian? It all depends what you're going to do and where you are thinking of working. And is if you're thinking of staying and working in just Slovenian market, then, by all means, you can take it in Slovenian. I think it depends on your, obviously, level of English knowledge. And, English is always good to have because that opens your, barometers and potential chances to land a role anywhere else. So it all depends what you want to achieve in the near future. Omar says certifications that will get a job in 2026. Omar, I think, I reiterate and I just explain. There's no certifications that will get you a job. That thing does not exist. It's not certifications that lands you the job. It's the skills. Now, I always say, starting out, you only need one certificate, Security Plus. But how you're going to pair that with the necessary skills, knowledge, and how to use the tools and how to pass the interview, how to build the best CV, and how to apply to jobs, that's a completely different thing. But certifications are not the ones that's going to land you the job. Sirlan says, what would be the best to check network devices config against best practices like CIS benchmarks? What do you mean, what would be the best? Do you mean tools, or do you mean like what would be the best benchmark? For CIS is, it's up there, and they'll have the benchmarks pretty much for everything. So network devices, comparing them to the CIS is a good start. There's not much you can do above and beyond that. Appleball says, I want to be a SOC. Do I have to master pentest? No, pentest has got nothing to do with SOC. Ronoff says, is networking a good course for cybersecurity, or should I do a computer science course? Computer science, that's not cybersecurity. Computer science is to be a software engineer, so that's not applicable. Networking is a good knowledge to have. Zen, drop out of 5-year CS engineering, including CyberSec MSc, to check out 3-year CS engineering degree. As I said before, and I mentioned it many times, I would not waste my time doing any degree, anything to do with cybersecurity. It's a waste of time. Unless you are in a place or a country that absolutely must, but again, it's never really a must. And I talk about it many times, guys, and I lived the same experience. I've built myself a self-learning path 10 years ago, and I got first cybersecurity job within 8 months. So why would you do a 3-year degree? That's not, and remember, degree is not going to guarantee you a job. If you just get a degree and nothing else, there's no chance you're going to find a cybersecurity job. So I always say, why spend 3 years, waste a lot of money doing a degree when you can do it different route and get it there quicker, cheaper, and, get experience. No problem, Juice. Always says, just I'll repeat, guys, again, mind you, sometimes in a chat, there's 50, 60 messages. So I'll answer them in a chronological order. So please do not spam the chat. I will get to all of the questions if they are relevant. OE says, what specific field within cybersecurity is the most relevant right now? There's not one that's very specifically relevant right now, OE. So cloud security engineering is always going to be up there, and it's always going to be popular. Most of the organizations starting greenfield are starting in a cloud, or most organizations are moving into some kind of hybrid environment. So cloud security skills are always going to be there. AI security is obviously on the rise. DevSecOps, it's always going to be there, and GRC is always going to be there. SOC are becoming harder, but all the other ones are kind of going to be relevant. Are there cybersecurity apprenticeships? Yes, there is, Mont. Who says, what were some of the interview questions? For what? It all depends what kind of role. There's, there is specifics. You're not going to have same interview questions for everything. Jeffy Sack, what is he saying? Hello, I got my Sec Plus and an associate's degree. Can I learn the job? If you only got that, you can't. You need, because just Security Plus, all you learned is the fundamentals of theory, and it proves that you can answer multiple choice questions, same as with associate's degree. Now, have you got a home lab? Do you know how to use SIM? Do you know how to use EDR? Do you know how to do vulnerability management? Do you know how to investigate incidents? Do you know how to prioritize vulnerabilities? Do you know how to do risk management? You got the skills, then you can, but just with a certificate, no. Dennis, thanks. Security is my passion. I have several certifications like CompTIA Security and a few others. I don't think there is a question. Talk, good evening. Good evening, Talk. Hello. HBD says, is Security Plus necessary if you're already doing a degree? Nothing is necessary, HBD. Degree sometimes is kind of equivalent to Security Plus because it covers the requirements, you know, and passing HR sort of boxes and requirements. But yeah, the main thing is the skills, because your degree is not going to teach you the relevant skills that you need for cybersecurity. Path to forensic, please. There is no really a path as such, and the certificates are very expensive if you want to go forensics, but all you need to do is get familiar, learn how to use the relevant tools for forensic analysis, such as FTK. There's a few other ones, but FTK is the main one. I have home labs and I can't find a job. Any suggestion companies to apply to? Just having a home labs doesn't mean that you can do the job. Again, Dennis, go on my YouTube and look. There is 2 videos I've just published. Full GRC career roadmap, full SOC career roadmap. There's one thing that you guys are not doing. You can have home labs, but you guys missing the key point. Documenting and showcasing to the world what you have learned from home labs. How to write a proof and outcome-based CV and how to apply for jobs. Those things are probably 99% of the people are not doing. So you have to watch the videos to learn how to do that correctly. Because that's one key thing that's missing, and that's why you can't find the job. D2M, do you think the Google Cybersecurity course will help me in Sec Plus? Potentially, yeah. There's going to be some overlap, yeah. Wenger, is cybersecurity architect expert worth doing? What do you mean worth doing? Are you talking about certification specific one, or are you talking about career? Any suggest hands-on labs for SOC? There are labs in TryHackMe. There are labs in Hack the Box. There's Let's Defend. There's a few of these blue team labs online. Yeah, there's loads of them. But the best lab you're going to do is build your home lab. Again, I've got a full video on my YouTube, how to build the best home lab, what you need it for, and everything's for free. User says, how to get into IT. I've been in IT last 9, always done first line, second line, help desk support. How to get in IT when you are already in IT? That doesn't make sense. Is CompTIA course useful? Which CompTIA course? There's loads of CompTIA courses, Mosta. Alice, suggestions for being overwhelmed in the industry. I work already in cyber. I think it's important to understand, and I kind of preface this, Alice, on some of my videos when I talk about first 3 to 6 months in a cybersecurity role. It's okay to be overwhelmed, and everyone is overwhelmed when they start out, because when you learn from the courses, from the labs, it feels like, you know, you feel confident, you feel good. But the real learning, I always say, the real learning and the real steep learning starts when you get into the job, because there's so much more that you don't know when you are not in the job. So it's okay to understand that you ain't gonna know everything, and it's okay to be, feeling overwhelmed, feel imposter syndrome. Everyone feels like that when they start out. It's all about how much are you gonna spend time and effort to catch up and learn and be confident. Because you have to remember, you can't learn everything. You need to learn what's applicable to your job and your role. So persevere, hard work, and you're going to get there. Do people get internships without being enrolled in a program? What program? Some of these questions, they don't really make sense. DFIR. Mostar, you already asked this question twice, and I said again, guys, do not repeat the same questions. I'm going to get there. What CompTIA course? How long have you learned to get a job in cybersecurity? Well, I did it in 8 months, but I'm saying to people, being realistic, it's anywhere from 9 to 12 months you can find your first cybersecurity job. Ryuzaki says, what sources do you use to keep up with ongoing cybersecurity related news and updates? What I've done, Ryuk, is I work in a Microsoft shop, so obviously I use Teams. So the cool thing what you can do is on Teams, you can set up, for example, I set up a channel and I've searched like 20 cybersecurity sites like Hacker News and stuff like that. And I've set up RSS feeds. So what you can do is basically I'll go to that Teams channel and every day it just pushes RSS feeds and the newest articles. So it's quite cool. I just, go in the morning, turn on my laptop, and I can scroll through the latest news from the last sort of 24 hours that have been published by RSS feeds from these 20 sites. How much is cybersecurity internships depend on Microsoft? There is no such thing. Bobino, I sell cyber for one of the bigger cybersecurity companies as an EAE. Should I look at certs? It really depends, Bobby, what you want to do. If you're going to be just in sales, you don't really need certs. All you need to do is you need to know your product well. You need to know it inside out. But in sales, the most important thing is all the communication skills, the influence skills, learning how to understand the problems. Because I think the biggest problem, and I work with a lot of vendors and I do teach people, go-to-market strategies and talk about sales. The biggest problem is that most salespeople, they allow their product and always talk about features instead of, without trying to understand what problems your clients are trying to solve. And that's the biggest issue. You need to be a good listener. You need to understand and kind of connect the dots, how your solution align to your clients' needs and their problems. So that's where I would focus my work towards. CCS says, got a student aid job as a help desk associate at my college, but it's all helping with passwords and basic layer 1 troubleshooting. How can I make sure that I'm prepared for entry-level cyber jobs and not stall out and waste time? Look, CCS, it's a good start. Anything to do with IT, it's already helpful because you're learning about computers, learning about stuff, and it's going to be helpful. You're learning how to communicate with users and stuff like that. Now, all you need to do is you learn the basic of computing. Now, the next level up is learning the networking. You don't necessarily need the certificate, but you need to learn the material from CompTIA Network Plus. If you want to go further, that's CCNA. Then you need to pass only one certificate, Security Plus. And then again, jump into my YouTube, watch the full blueprint. Then you need to build a home labs and acquire the necessary skills. You need to drop in an EDR, you need to drop in a SIM in there. You can drop in OpenVAS to do vulnerability management. You need to learn how to use the skills and gather the knowledge that's really going to make you transform and learn how to do the job. And then it's about, transitioning and finding the job. Gussie, can you learn from scratch in 6 months? I'm not sure you can do it in 6 months, Gussie, but you can definitely do it in 9 to 12. MP says, do you know where you buy? I'm in London, UK. Arthur says, going to graduate this May with a master's in CS. I had software dev intern at Apple. What's next? What next, Arthur, is figure out what you want to do within cyber. Because obviously, cybersecurity is a massive field and you need to figure out what role you want to do. And then you can work towards acquiring the necessary skills. Because just because you got masters, you're not going to find a job. You need to acquire the necessary skills. Any roles other than SOC analyst to transition from help desk to cyber? Yeah, you can transition into GRC, you can transition into potentially security engineering. There's a lot of other things that you can do, Pandas. It's all about, what skills lend itself best and how much time are you willing to spend to acquire the necessary skills and certificates. So it's all going to be relevant. Silk says, if somebody send me malware virus from the dark web to my network and devices, will megabytes I don't know what is megabytes, but I don't think so. Omera says, hi, I'm setting up a personal project on a DigitalOcean droplet. Would you recommend to secure? It really, I can't recommend something without understanding what and where you're wanting to go with your career, Omera. So if you want to go into SOC, it's going to be different than if you're going to go into engineering and if you're going to go into GRC. So everything is relevant based on the role. There's no point doing projects that do not assist in your future aspirations. 12 months, not bad. Yeah, not bad indeed. Rick there, thanks. That's awesome. Thank you for your answering. No problem. Inyo, do you think proxy TLS firewall is useful nowadays? Because iOS or Android are already hard to... Well, it depends. It depends what context, because you're talking about iOS and Android. That's only a phone. You can't deploy any application without having a firewall, whether it's web application firewall or normal firewall, of course. Otherwise, how are you going to protect against DDoS attacks and SQL injections and all of that? Yes, you can fix most of that stuff, but the thing is, development moves so fast that you need to have a security in depth approach, and you're not going to be able to fix everything. Did you get a degree in cybersecurity? Goosey says, yes, I did, but I have to preface this. I only got a cybersecurity degree when I was already in cybersecurity for 7 years. So I didn't start my career getting a degree. I got masters when I had 7 years worth of experience. And actually, to be fair, I think it was a waste of time and waste of money, and I regret having it because that paper is not worth the ink that's written on it. Let's talk about your recent LinkedIn post from Cisco. LinkedIn post from Cisco Alarm. What is there to talk, Langusi? Someone says, is working in cybersecurity for military good for experience and future jobs? Yeah, of course, potentially, yeah. Yuri, hello, I have a lot of questions. Well, fire away, Yuri. Again, guys, just to preface, I've got 52 messages in a queue, so I'll get to your message. Just be patient because sometimes, we get quite a lot of people. Samantha says, overwhelmed where to start with independent study. I'm interested in blue teaming. Well, yeah, Samantha, there's a couple of things to unpack here. First of all, it really depends. And I talked in a few blueprints and some of the videos. It depends what you've done in the previous career. Now, certain career fields lend itself very well for GRC. Now, if you're fairly technical and you're good at understanding computers, you're good at analyzing, you're good at sifting through big, massive amounts of logs and picking sort of a needle in the haystack, yes, SOC is a great start. It all depends what, you are as a person, how you operate, and what lends itself best. Do you find that you can learn elements good? I mean, blue teaming is, there's kind of a couple of routes in here. It's either security engineering or SOC. So it all depends what you learn, research, understand what the roles are, entail what do they do in these roles, and then you can make your decision. 1.5 years in first line with Security Plus Competency Certificate. How employable will I be? Just with that, not employable at all. If you learn the necessary skills via home lab and stuff like that, then yes. Did you also learn Python and SQL? I did, but I did that very late in my career because, to be honest, Python, SQL is not really necessary completely. SQL is for data science and database management and stuff like that. Python is only relevant if you go into pen testing or if you go in security engineering, because Python, you're probably going to do some automation tasks with Python. But again, you're rarely going to start early on and use Python in your career. You can learn that further down. I used Python when I built AI models and trained AI models. And there's some other languages. I used Python when I did automating tasks for security engineering and building policies. And there's various other languages that you can use for that as well. There's like 𝐟𝐸𝐫 policy languages. One and a half years and yeah, I want to start cloud security. What's the roadmap? Ben, I've got just a thing for you. Tomorrow I'm dropping a video, full cloud security roadmap in my YouTube. So you'll find the link in my bio. You will see that I'll drop a video tomorrow. I'm also going to do some announcements. I'm going to drop some shorts and with the links in a roadmap, but that video lands tomorrow. So yeah, you can check it out. Okay, well, unknown needs to be banned because they just spam and as I repeated 10 times, not to spam. G, ever breached data for... Not sure I understand the question, Dominic. What do you mean breached? Oh, you mean do I ever breach some organization for educational purposes? No. No, you go to prison for that. What's the salary in London for cloud security? It really depends, but if we're talking cloud security engineering, we're talking anywhere from 80 grand to 120, and some quant trading houses go up to like 200 even K. Tim Blakely, what's your opinion on ransomware containment tools? There are some really cool tools now that can do quite a lot. I think Halcyon is kind of works in that space. I made a post with it today on LinkedIn. But yeah, I think they can serve its purpose. I think there's kind of few tools the way they work. I don't remember which one of them kind of intercepts encryption keys and obviously allows you to everything be decrypted. I mean, it could be applicable for some organizations, but it's all about what is your biggest risk and are you willing to pay the money to implement the tools. I mean, the tools are getting better and some of them probably potentially can solve that problem. So yeah. Walid says, I have completed my CCNA certification. What's next step I need to take for cybersecurity? You need to complete Security Plus, CompTIA Security Plus, Walid, and then building a home lab. Catfather, which cybersecurity roles you think will be always in demand in this AI time? Well, AI security is obviously going to be in demand. Anything to do with GRC is always going to be in demand because I think AI, can do a lot of great stuff. But the thing is, it still can't understand business context. It still can't understand human behavior. So there's going to be, there's always going to be a need for cybersecurity people. And I always say, whenever people ask, say, will AI replace cybersecurity people? I say no. The only thing that's going to change is, and what is going to be replaced is, people who know how to use AI will replace those who can't use AI. So that's the only difference. But cybersecurity roles are not going to disappear off the radar. As I said previously, guys, again, I keep seeing you need to be mindful of other people in the chat. If you're going to start spamming 3 or 4 messages in a row, I'm just going to block you. As I said before, I'm going to get to every message. So if you're going to ask more times, that doesn't mean I'm going to answer it quicker. Every role requires at least a bachelor's degree. No, that's absolute nonsense, Elliot. What about AI security, Goosey? What's the question here? 235 says, I'm in France and getting accepted to our engineering filler is really hard. Yeah, everything is really hard. There is no easy jobs that you're going to land. What certs you recommend besides CYSA? I heard it's going to retire. I don't recommend any certs, Hub. The point is chasing certificates. And I'm saying that's why I see all the time people say, what's the best next certificate? There is no best. Once you get 1 or 2, that's all you need. Then it's about skills. Zero Upload says cyber degrees are often awful. Yeah, of course they are. Cyber degrees are, you have to remember, guys, to build a cybersecurity program for degree, it takes 5 years. So by the time you do it, it's 5 years out of date. And most of the time it's all about just theory. So, hey, Toasted. Dam says, I say I'm interested in cybersecurity. What course you should take during foundation? A+. Cover all of the operating systems and hardware, then network plus, then security plus. Damn, that's kind of the main thing. But if you want, check out the videos on my YouTube about full roadmaps. Can you help me understand the interviewing process and the key things that we need in order to... I can't explain all of that, Lungusi. Watch my YouTube videos. And 13. Yes, and 13. I mentioned, I think, during last live as well. So those of you guys, if you're joining late, if you missed some of the stuff and you just want to see what other people questions ask, you want to rewatch all of these videos, because I'm streaming live currently on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube, as well as TikTok. So whichever platform you prefer, you can rewatch the full live session. So whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitch, or whatever you want, most of the links is in my bio, but you can rewatch the whole recording tomorrow or next day or whatever you want. How many SOC projects can I do to be relatively employable? I would say, Langusi, I think I talked in videos, anywhere from 5 to 10 is quite cool, as long as you've done kind of comprehensive ones. Yeah. Unisha, what about SQL injection? What about it? That's not a question. Hi, Julia. Welcome, welcome. Help. 3 years of experience within IT industry. Sec Plus obtained. Splunk Core Power user this Saturday. Help with what, Yapper? I don't see a question here. I just did my 4th lab practice, says Shules. Thank you to you, feeling really motivated. Good stuff. That's what I love to see. That's why we're doing this lives, to see people, get motivated, succeed, grind. Stuff like that, Julia, it shows that, people can achieve stuff. They just need to buckle down and do the hard work. What other home labs related to Qualys and Splunk boss of the SOC but still can't land SOC analyst role? Interviews. Because your CV is, first of all, probably because your CV is crap, Yapper, and you're not standing out when you're applying. Again, watch my YouTube videos. There's 2 key things that why you're not getting interviews, and I'll break it down in the roadmap videos. Most of the people don't do that, and that's why, if you're just blindly applying to roles, there's no chance you're going to land a job, because out of hundreds of applicants, someone's going to have something more than you do. So you need to make yourself stand out and be noticed. Emmanuel, I can't help you with home lab documentations. That's all, again, explained in the videos on TikTok and my YouTube. It's simple. All you need to do is the documentations, is write what you have done, what you have learned, take the screenshots and proper document what you've done in the lab. That's not difficult. What is primitive defense when it comes to AI and cybersecurity? Ambassador says, well, AI security is all about... have a look at what's the Databricks. Databricks has a quite cool AI security framework for securing it. But it's all about, you have to think about, when you're talking about AI security, you have to secure the access to AI. So it's all about identity and access management. You have to protect the models and the training. So again, access to this against model theft and where you store the model. You have to clean the data and secure the data pipelines that are ingested into the model. You have to secure the prompts and scan the prompts. So you have to have some kind of tooling in scanning the prompts and what the outputs are. There's a whole framework because there's about 12 steps that you need to do in order to secure AI. And I think, at least at some basic level, most of the people should learn some of the bits of it. Chromie says, is it true that if we want to be cybersecurity, we have to have many certificates? No, that's not true, Chromie. That's absolutely not true. One certificate is more than enough. Junior, what are the entry-level jobs with a cybersecurity graduate with a diploma? TOC, GRC, there's all kinds of entry-level jobs, Junior, but you're not going to get a job just with a degree. Okay. You can also have a look, Yapper. I've got a video how to build a honeypot on AWS. That's quite cool as well, Lab, to have a look. Aaron says, besides the company, why do you not like Darktrace? There's nothing needed to be besides. I just don't like Darktrace, and I think their tools are crap. As I said before, I think I explained it last time, Aaron. They buy some great tools, but they never invest in R&D. The 80% of the people are, salespeople. So, and they do some crazy, shady tactics in terms of sales. So, I would never work with that kind of company. Hey, Lee Thomas. I'm good. I'm good, mate. How are you? Good to see some familiar faces, Lee. Yeah, we're good. We going through all of the questions and trying to help some people. 𝐬𝐻𝐾, are you SOC? No, I'm definitely not SOC. Yeah, just to add, guys, I guess if you're not aware. So I'm Chief Information Security Officer working for a global fintech organization, and I've been in cybersecurity for over 10 years. So I started my career in SOCs, yes, but I worked in SOCs, I worked in cloud security engineering, cloud security architecture. I built application security programs and DevSecOps frameworks for organization, pen testing strategies, and then I moved into leadership 3 years ago. When it comes to cloud security, which provider is better to start with in EU? Catfather, I think, there's a couple of things to consider here. I think, first of all, AWS is obviously the biggest. AWS will have it's the biggest cloud, it has the most amount of customers. But on some enterprise level, there are a lot of organizations that are 100% Microsoft shop. So they're using Windows devices, they build the infrastructure in Azure. So, but if I was just, a betting man in terms of, just sheer scale and numbers, I'll start at AWS. Sherry, hey, just came from TikTok account because I want to start my cybersecurity career. I just want to know what can I take my first step in CS. Sherry, just check, as I said, there's 2 roadmap videos on my YouTube. Obviously, you joined on YouTube now. So there's 2 videos. There's GRC full career roadmap and SOC analyst full career roadmap. So review both of them, and they'll explain all you need to do to start and kind of pick the best route for you. Jugas, final elect engineer student here, interested in network hardware security. Anything you could recommend? If you're talking about specifically network security, I would look at Jugas. I would look at CCNA and CCNP. If you not completely going into cybersecurity, but specifically for network security, CCNA and CCNP is the most in-depth stuff that you're ever going to do. So yeah, have a look at those. What's the best Debian-based Linux distro? It really depends for what, I guess. You know, Ubuntu is obviously probably the most used. Obviously, you got Kali to be an attacker one. You got Security Onion, the defensive one. So it's relevant. Michael says, is duck DNS safe and secure for private networking or else? I don't really know what duck DNS is, Michael, so I can't really answer that question for you. Blue teaming in cloud security, what's the correct job title called? There's no specific, Samantha. You know, anything defensive side is blue teaming. So blue teaming could be anything from DevSecOps to cloud security engineer, cloud security analyst, SOC analyst. Anything on the defensive side is blue teaming. So there is loads of roles that are, you know, in cloud security. The truth about cybersecurity that it's dangerous. No, it's not. Nmap, URL fuzzing, domain spoofing, we love it all. Oh, I'm sure we do. Any good resources to learn cryptography? Why do you need to learn cryptography? All you need to do is you need to learn the basics, because the thing is, we're never going to invent the wheel in cryptography. We always follow the established standards. So all you need to know is just how it works. And you can learn most of the stuff from Security Plus SMX. Don't forget prompt injection, yeah. Trust God says, I want to learn geospatial tracking of people. That's got nothing to do with cybersecurity. Yes, I am senior level. I'm leadership level. So there is nothing really higher in terms of security where I am, Leon. Hey, Pablo. Hey. Would you think about the governance side, ISMS, BCM, etc.? Yeah, it's a great career point. You know, governance is obviously anything to do with GRC. So, you know, and GRC is expanding as well as a career, because now GRC used to be very non-technical, but now you got roles that are doing GRC engineering, because obviously we are automating the evidence gathering, we are automating ISMS assessments and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a great career path, you know, and some, you know, techie people think that's beneath them, but it all depends where you're coming from, and could be a great career change into GRC. Timo, I am trained GRC analyst with CRISC certification, but still struggling to get a role. CRISC certification. How are you trained with CRISC certification, Timo? You have to have 5 years worth of experience to get a CRISC. So you should be walking into any role. Or if you're struggling to get a role, there's a couple of things here. Obviously, first of all, your CV must be crap if you aren't getting interviews. Because there is always one thing, you know, CV and how you apply if you aren't getting interviews. And if you're failing interviews, then obviously it's the problem with the skill sets and knowledge. So again, Timo, go on YouTube, have a look. I explained the full GRC career roadmap. But for you, is probably the most relevant thing is CV and how to apply to jobs. You need to re-watch the end of that video and learn how to differentiate, stand out from the crowd, and how to showcase your skills. Because just because you have certification, you're not going to get a job. No chance. No matter what certification you have. No. Okay, just a question. Leon says, do you think the only way to smash past 6 figures is via management? No, absolutely not. I got my cloud security engineer role, and I was earning 125K, and that was 4 years ago. As I said before, I mentioned previously, there are cloud security engineering roles with really advanced skills in quant trading houses in London that pay 250K. So you can easily get 6 figures in UK being cloud security engineer or just security engineer. You can get DevSecOps. I've hired DevSecOps people that I paid 110K. So no, you don't need to go management to get 6 figures. Absolutely. That screen. Hi, sir. I'm doing cybersecurity bootcamp. Is it good? I don't know. I don't know what kind of bootcamp are you doing, so how do I know? But I am against doing bootcamps because I think it's a waste of money because you can do everything the same without spending fortunes of money. How do I get started? I'm a complete beginner. Jump on a YouTube, watch my full roadmap breakdown, and that's how you start. You need to start at the very beginning. So A+. Niche. I'm doing TPRM. Can you explain me when should I get involved in contract negotiation? Third-party risk management. You shouldn't get involved in contract negotiation. That's normally done by legal people. I mean, you can. It all depends on based what you found during doing TPRM, isn't it? Because you, as a business, you need to establish some clear guidelines of what is acceptable and what is not. Like, are you going to work with companies that doesn't have ISO 27001? Are you going to work with companies that doesn't have information security management system? It's all going to be about risk-based approach. So, are you going to onboard tools that doesn't have SSO? Based on your requirements, you need to establish that within the business. But, in terms of contract negotiation, it depends what you mean. Are you talking about contract negotiation on costs, on finer points, on right to audit, or what? There's a few people are involved in that because, if you're just doing TPRM, I think it depends what you're doing TPRM. Are you doing TPRM from cyber point of view? Are you doing from what's the other discipline? I kind of forgot, but yeah, it depends. You go to college? No, I did not wiki. I mean, I went to university, but that was 7 years in my career. Whilst I've been use Linux or Windows. I use both. Fanboy. The colony says, as a business analyst, how is it related to CS? There's always elements from every career that you learn, because as a business analyst, you understand compliance. You understand how to analyze and do assessments. So that's transferable to part of the GRC. So you do in all kinds of assessments and analysis on the business, which is the similar thing. So for example, in cybersecurity, we do business impact analysis to understand what applications and what processes and tools that we have would impact the business. So there's loads of skills and knowledge that are transferable into cybersecurity. UK Clippers. I want to get into security analyst, but literally have no roadmap certs, aren't everything, because we just need experience first. Yeah, but you can acquire experience through home labs. But it's not about only experience; it's about knowledge, about certificates. So, as I mentioned, UK Clippers, it's they get the whole roadmap on my YouTube. Star and seat method on YouTube is great for CV and interview advice. Cool, good stuff. Thanks for sharing, Samantha. Julia says, I want to install Cisco Packet Tracer. Do you think it will help me understand networking? Yeah, of course. Whether it's you install that, whether you install Wireshark, but it's good, especially I think I mentioned in the previous lab exercises, Julia, is about, whenever you do lab exercises, if you're, for example, doing an attack, it's great to do and intercept traffic via Wireshark so you can understand how the attacks look from networking perspective, and stuff like that. Yeah, of course, it's a great thing to learn. I'm doing cybersecurity as my master's. What will you tell me to do or learn? Well, Baobab masters is not going to land you a job, so you need to learn skills. You need to build yourself a home lab and acquire the necessary skills and knowledge outside of the courses and degrees. CompTIA CYSA with CCNA, good combination. Yeah, AJ. Yeah, that's a good combination. Dudek says, what degree did you get? I'm currently in networks at cybersecurity, but we only got cyber module. My degree was, I did cybersecurity and digital forensics. And I graduated, I think, 3 years ago, yeah. Tarek, is it good enough to get a cybersecurity job like SOC analyst? Tarek, I'm going to repeat it again. No matter what certificates you have, you're not going to get a job without skills. You can have 20 certificates, 50 certificates, you're not going to get a job unless you have the necessary skills. What degree did you get? We already answered that. How much bash is used? Quite a lot. Because you have to remember, Linux is bash. So all of the cloud security engineering lives pretty much in Linux, nothing is being done through graphical interface. So the one thing as well I mentioned, and I'll talk through it, is my tomorrow cloud security roadmap, is if you want to go into cloud security, yes, you can do AWS security specialty, but that teaches you how to do stuff through graphical interface. That is not being done at enterprise businesses. Everything is done through CLI and Terraform. So that's another skills to acquire. Camden, I'm planning to go to college for cybersecurity. Is this still a good idea? No, definitely not a good idea, Camden. It's a waste of money and time. Unique. Hi, I'm happy to be here. Please, what is the difference between GRC and cybersecurity? There is no difference. Cybersecurity as a whole is an industry. GRC is one of the branches of cybersecurity. You have SOC, you have cloud security engineering. All of these are jobs and roles within cybersecurity. What is the job market, you think? The job market is kind of up and down now. I think it's really difficult, and that's why I say, guys, people are struggling, but I try to share the tips and knowledge of how to stand out and differentiate yourself from the crowd, because it's not easy to get a job nowadays, and yeah, it requires a lot of hard work. So, job market can be up and down, but if you do the right things, you can definitely find a job, and there's plenty of jobs out there. Yeah, if you go Wireshark, then there's no point doing any other capture, Julia. Wireshark is perfectly fine. What to do if business owners are not trying to mitigate risks raised as part of the risk assessment? Well, as long as they signed off the risks and their name is upon it, that's all the things you can do. You can obviously, it's all about, again, your communication and negotiation and influence skills to make them understand, because it depends how you do risk management. Because if you just, presenting risks as 5x5 matrix and saying, well, this risk is 12, this risk is 15, of course they're not going to mitigate. They don't have a clue what that means. If you can quantify the risks and showcase, the negative side effects of business if those risks are not mitigated, and how does these risk mitigation help business achieve its goals, then you can change their minds. But the main key point is getting people to accept and sign the risks, so everything is documented. So if anything bad happens, they agreed to take the risk. Their head is going to be in a chopping block. The colony says, been thinking as a BA, how can I link it to cybersecurity and transition still as BA? You can't really do BA in cybersecurity, but you can definitely transfer some of the knowledge and skills into cybersecurity. Yes, definitely, colony. I think alluded a bit. Would you think about computer network book for a beginner? I can't really help you, Maria. I've not heard about the book, so I'm not sure whether it's going to be helpful for you or not. Sudik says, you are in UK, and was there much cyber modules? Because we only got in... Yeah, of course there was. If I'm doing cybersecurity degree, then all of the modules are going to be about cybersecurity. Best certificate to get? You only need one certificate, Borganes. It's CompTIA Security Plus. What are your thoughts on password managers to the full gaps on SSO? Are they worth the money? I think password managers are great thing to have, but it all depends, what you have. So if you don't have complete estate and SSO and your identity security is quite weak, then password managers are the way to go. But for example, if I'm running a Microsoft Azure shop like I am now, if I did a lot of security provisions and secured my identity through Entra ID, then I want to leverage it as much as possible. So my, for example, requirement is for any enterprise applications that we onboard, they have to have an SSO because I want to leverage my Entra ID because it's very secure. So therefore, we don't need people to use multiple passwords because as long as you can sign into your Azure portal, you can access all of the applications via SSO. So it's all dependent on how much you invested in your identity security. Juan, recommend Security Plus. Will AI take cybersecurity job? No. Fancy, which would you choose, having a college degree or certificates with hand-on experience? There's no choice here. Of course, the second one. Having a college degree is absolutely worthless and useless. Would you think about MCP service and automation of tools in relation to cybersecurity? Well, they can cause and bring a lot of risks, and the problem is that most of the people that play around with these MCP servers, they have no clue about cybersecurity and they don't know how to secure them. So I think identity security is the next perimeter because all of these MCP servers, they need identity and they need to authenticate to all of the tools. So identity security is going to be the real problem, and especially non-human identity, because all of these accounts and servers, they have service principals, they have API keys. So that's a big thing, and I think it's becoming the second biggest attack vector in the near future. Hey Sham, it's my name. I'm in pre-intelligence and crime analysis concentration in cybersecurity. Is it bad to go college? Yes, anything is bad to go college. I'm really, I really think it's not worth going to university for cybersecurity, guys. Fuller, look who it is. Hello, hello. Look who it is indeed. What cybersecurity is it? Oh, I already answered that. Samantha, are most companies these days using cloud? Yes, I think the latest statistic is that 98% of the companies are hybrid, so they have some cloud presence. So most organizations are moving to the cloud, or if they're newer organizations, they're started in the cloud. Kareem says CCNA or CompTIA? Networking. I think for cybersecurity, CCNA is an overkill because CCNA is a network engineering certificate. So I think Network Plus is enough, Kareem. But if you want to go really in depth, then CCNA. Football life. I'm a cybersecurity student first year. What advice can you pass to me? Build a home lab and practice the skills, because degree is not going to teach you the necessary skills. Good evening, Fuller. Good evening indeed, mate. Good to see you. Baba, Python security programming versus digital forensic software tools. Which one will you choose? Python. Python security all the way. Only Man United I was supporting. No, I'm a Man City fan, so get that Man United nonsense out of here. Sam, is it worth me getting into cybersecurity at 16, hoping to have a job in it? Of course it is. I mean, Sam, it depends your motivation and goals why you want to go into cybersecurity. If you just want to go there for the money, then no. If you really feel passionate and you want to learn and go into cybersecurity, then yeah, of course. It's a great career. I made the switch 10 years ago, and that was probably the best thing I've ever done. How does someone start studying? By starting. That's how someone starts, minimum. Just start at the very beginning. CompTIA A+, learn the operating systems and hardware. There is mainly college degree as equivalent, so how would you do? Yeah, but Fancy, you have to remember, all of this college degree, it's not a requirement, it's a wish list. These are all companies who wish. And I talked in my roadmap videos how to apply for jobs. If you apply the way I said to apply, this degree is not going to matter at once whatsoever. Is it worth getting? Yeah, we already answered that. We just started on Try Hack Me. Is it a good way of learning? Yes, of course. So just another question. I'm an international student and I completed cybersecurity BSc. I found there are a small number of SOC-related entry-level jobs. Also, most of them doesn't sponsor students. Of course they won't sponsor students, yeah. You're not going to find a SOC job like that if you need sponsorship. There's no chance, Ramon. So, you're not going to find an entry-level role if you require sponsorship. That's for sure. Iggy, do you think Cyber Essentials Plus is worth actually having, or is it just a tick box? Cyber Essentials Plus is not a personal certificate. It's only for organizations. If your organization wishes to work with government, then Cyber Essentials Plus is a requirement, yes. How do I start learning cybersecurity? Ha says, by watching my blueprint and roadmap video on YouTube. Where can I find cybersec events and clubs? I can't find much online. Well, have a look at B-Sides events, Jamil. Have a look at Cloud and Cyber Expo. Have a look at InfoSec. There's loads of events. I guess it depends where you are or which part of the world you are in. Is AI a threat to cybersecurity jobs? Yes, it is, but not in the way that you think it's going to replace all of the jobs. I always say, Football Life, that AI is a threat in a way that those who can't use AI will get left behind. And those people who upskill and learn how to use AI, how to secure AI, they're going to thrive in cybersecurity and not much is going to change in that space. Olani just started Masters in Cybersecurity, Threat Intelligence and Forensics in the UK. Certifications. Yes, Security Plus. That's all you need. I mean, it depends what you want to do, but that's the main one to get. Is learning levels of OCI important? It doesn't matter in actual cybersecurity. It doesn't matter that much, but again, you know, entry-level roles, and you need to understand how networking works. So you need to understand to some level and extent what it is and how does it work. Cloud security analyst. I like the sound of that. Sam says. Did you mention a roadmap coming out tomorrow? Yes, indeed, Sam. Roadmap video coming out tomorrow for cloud security. But it's not analyst. I'm dropping a video about cloud security engineering, which is a differentiation. There's a few differentiations in terms of skill, and there's about 20-30K difference in salary. I mean, engineering being higher. How is blocking task manager beneficial for company computers? It's not necessarily related, I guess, stress to blocking just task manager. But for example, I do not allow anyone access to local admin account in the business unless there's absolutely specific necessity and it goes by exception. But every other user does not have local admin, which obviously blocks the access to the task manager. I'm into cybersecurity and I still don't have an idea about things work. Okay. Can I get into cyber if I'm data protection officer and work on ISO 27001, Cyber Essentials, PCI DSS? Yes, you absolutely can. And your route would be getting into GRC. You'll probably need a bit more broader skills. You'll need to learn how to do risk assessments and risk management, how to write cybersecurity policies, but you got about 33% of the skills based on compliance stuff already. Degree is definitely not better because it wastes a lot of time versus certifications is one. What comes after a true positive and confirmed compromised laptop level 2 perspective? Well, if it's a true positive and it's confirmed, then your first goal is isolate the computer from the network so it stops the spread of the attack. That's the first thing you're going to do. if there is one language to learn, which one should it be? It'll be role specific, so there isn't one. Bash, PowerShell. If you're working for Blue Team, if you go into engineering and pen testing, that's Python. No, I don't have a video for pen testing user because, and I always say and repeat time and time again, pen testing is not an entry-level role, and you have pretty much 0% chance of landing a pen tester job coming from zero experience. Brazzy, you find cybersecurity jobs on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best place, not Indeed. What do I do if I accidentally find a vulnerability in a supermarket that allows a bad actor to send notifications to any mobile phone in the vicinity? There are no notifications completely open to anything can be done. Well, you need to try and contact the supermarket cybersecurity team and inform them about specific vulnerabilities. Yeah, guys, that's an hour. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to leave you and love you. As I mentioned, guys, Toasted mentioned as well in the chats, there is Telegram cybersecurity community. There's cybersecurity community in the Telegram, so if you want to join, ping Toasted and the guys. If you want to chat and learn with like-minded people. As I mentioned, there's 2 roadmap videos on my YouTube channel, so make sure to subscribe and watch the SOC analyst roadmap, GRC analyst roadmap. Everything is explained in those videos. And as I mentioned, tomorrow, cloud security engineering from zero to hero video drops as well. So check it out, show some love. In the meantime, have a good evening. Keep working hard, guys. Keep persevering, keep acquiring the necessary skills, and I'm sure you guys can achieve your success, but you just need to work hard and remember that skills are the most important. You only need 1 certificate, and you don't need cybersecurity degree for cyber. So have a great evening. I'll catch you on the next live.